Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Ever since I purchased my Nikon Z7, which was about 18 months ago now, I've been consistently using my 24-200mm lens, which I like to call my all-purpose lens. Join me on today's adventure as I head deep into the Lake District National Park in northwest England, with plans to summit another Wainwright and discuss a few reasons as to why I think these do-it-all lenses are perfect for landscape photography. I'm already grabbing a photograph, guys, with the lens, these all-purpose, these do-it-all lenses that I want to talk about today. Before we get into this, the light is just incredible. It really feels like one of those days where we've got that warm, golden winter light. Let me tell you this, it is 10 to 12. It's almost midday, and the light right now is as good as a golden hour any other time of the year. It is spectacular for landscape photography. So yeah, I do want to chat a little bit about, mine is a 24-200, but these types of, versatile, all-purpose lenses, like I said, 24-200, man, that is such a huge focal range. And that's what I love when I'm taking these sorts of handheld photographs. It's just there in my bag, a tool, and 24mm, especially on full frame, is so wide, and then 200mm, we're getting pretty far in. It's quality. The versatility is the first thing that I absolutely love about these all-purpose lenses. So I'm trying to make the most of this light with this photograph, and all I'm doing really, a few little Scots pine trees here on the right hand side, and then in the middle of the frame we've got some more trees that are all pointing up to, I think it's him, Snowy Fell in the background. I think that's Great End, but it makes for a really nice winter lakeland scene. I've just stuck the camera in aperture priority mode and auto ISO. I don't even know what the settings came out as. 1/320th of a second, f6.3 and ISO 64. I've focused at some of the trees in the center of the frame, and I have got this dry stone wall down in the foreground, but he's kind of blurred out a little bit. I'm really trying to create this depth effect that we're looking over the dry stone wall into that scene in the background. But yeah, we're going to have a really nice hike today up a fell called Panorama. What a name. It's one that I've always wanted to go up. I feel like I say that before I go up every single fell in the Lake District, but it's true, and it should be a cracker. And we've already got a photograph in the bag. What a morning! Right, so that's us set up for another photograph already. We're not even a quarter of the way up the fell just yet. It's just such a lovely day. But I want to talk about the second reason why I love these all-purpose lenses, my 24-200, and that is weight, or how lightweight these lenses are, how much weight they save you, in your camera bag. I'm the type of photographer really that proper thrives off like being in the right places at the right times. That is what means the most to me, I think. Definitely not like expensive lenses and stuff. It's probably the same as most of us, to be fair, isn't it? But I suppose this is a decision that you've got to make yourself. I would rather sacrifice a bit of image quality. I'd rather sacrifice better optics for the sake of having a lot less weight in my camera bag. I need to be motivated to be going up fells and stuff. That's my passion, going up mountains, going on long walks, that sort of thing. I suppose, to be fair, if you've got a really heavy bag, because you've got heavy lenses in there and you're not going on long walks, it probably doesn't matter as much, does it? So like I said, It's a decision that you've got to make yourself, but I love the fact, this is the second thing that I love about these sorts of lenses, I love the fact that it's just so lightweight. It's brilliant. Featherlight in the camera bag, guys. So, is it on record? There we go. I'll pop this up on the screen on the Z7 so you can see the composition that I'm going for. I hope you'll agree, it just looks like a classic kind of snow-capped mountain scene. We're shooting across this woodland. We've got a little bit of what I think is Grange Fell on the right-hand side of the frame. And then as you can see, we've got Skiddaw right off in the background. Snow-capped Skiddaw. He's a lovely sort of conical shape, which really works well for this type of shot. And yeah, the clouds are really nice as well. F11, ISO 64, and I think it was 1/50th of a second. But already, I hope, a couple of decent photographs. And like I said, we're not even a quarter of the way up the fell just yet. So I definitely wouldn't say I was overly pleased with this image, but what really did catch my eye in post-production was just how striking the snow appeared against the dark slopes of Skiddaw. So I decided to actually convert the photograph to a black and white to really try and enhance this contrast. Oh yes! Wait till you see this! Some things to landscape photographers are just undeniable. So as undeniable as these cascades were, they were actually very difficult to photograph. I wanted the snowy fells to make up my background, but I just couldn't get the correct perspective. So in my mind, there was only one thing for it. Send up the drone. It was time for a quick pit stop and to fuel up on some Monster Munch and Iron Brew. Always nice and healthy. Now time was getting the best of me and I really needed to press on if I was to make the summit of Glaramara for the sunset. Oh man, I've barely come 5 minutes since I had my Monster Munch and Iron Brew. This is a gorgeous hike and things keep pulling me in. I don't think I'm going to take a photograph here, but that little bowl there, look at it, I think it's called Coombe Gill. I just think it's the most incredible example of where there clearly would have been a glacier. I think the snow really heightens the sense of it as well. It's just this kind of like big horseshoe shape and you could see the sort of the stream flying down from it. Yeah, that's really cool. I'll tell you what, whilst we're stopped, I may as well chat about something else that I like about my all-purpose lens. And that is, this one's pretty simple really. One thing that I really hate doing is changing lenses for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I find a lot of the time if I'm changing lenses, I'm in a bit of a rush because I'm mad to shoot at a certain focal length and I'm trying to get my wide angle lens on, something like that. But secondly, I hate it because I don't know what it is. I just hate exposing my sensor to the elements. I suppose probably we all do. And yeah, if I can limit that, you know, having to change lenses, that's another positive for me. So that's another good thing. You know, in the past I've had 3 lenses. Now I've only got 2 because of my 24-200, my do-it-all lens. And it just means I have to change lenses so much less. You know, I'm literally only changing lenses on my Z7 if I want a really wide angle. Say like I'm at the coast or something, I don't actually use my wide angle lenses that often when I'm up in the fells and stuff. It's usually, yeah, when I'm on the coast or something like that. So what's that? Number 3, that's the third thing that I love about my do-it-all lens. I really do need to make a move now, man. Goodness me. I'll tell you what a glacier! What a glacier! So as you can see, I've popped myself into Arctic mode. I've got about 1 million hoods on and still a little while to go until we get up to the summit of Panorama, but I'm stopping here because you can see we've started to get amongst the snow line now, and we've just got this incredible vista back towards the sort of northwest, and we've got 2 or 3 fells, and I just think it's the perfect opportunity to fire off a little bit of a panorama. Now, I think it's going to be quite long from left to right, but I'm going to try my best to make it work. And the foreground's cracking as well, so I'm going to get the tripod set up nice and level, and then I'll talk you through this panel. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Oh, so that wind has come in even stronger now, ladies and gents, but we are prepared. Arctic Henry is out in full force. So, you know what? I feel like I've been saying this loads recently. It's another panic pano. I'm basically taking different variants of the same panorama just to kind of get them all on the memory card, and I can make the decision of which one I prefer, which one I want to use when I get home. But basically what we're doing is going from this prominent peak you can see on your top right, which I think is Fleetwith Pike, all the way to this peak that's sort of shrouded in cloud, which I think is Great Gable. So it's quite a stretch between Fleetwith Pike and Great Gable, but I do think it's going to work nicely as a panel. You can see we've got some really nice foreground elements down here. We've got the snow, we've got these lovely yellow grasses peeking through the snow, which I love this time of year. And then of course we've got this kind of nice collection of rocks that are just anchoring this whole composition. I love these type of photographs up on the fells. If you watch me regularly, you'll know that I do. Some rocks that point into the mountains, you know, some foreground rocks that take us off into the background. It's fantastic. And yeah, I just love all the colours of the rocks as well. You know, the greys, the little green patches that you get on them. Absolutely mega. But yeah, I'm just not sure if the panel's going to be too far. It's off your screen, but over in that direction is Scafell Pike, and I've even tried one panel that goes all the way across to there. So it may even include him as well. And finally, this one's definitely a bit of an insurance policy, but I suppose I'll show you now. So as you see up on your screen there, that's the Nikon Z7 view now. I've also tried just one sort of straight shot, you know, kind of like that, that's it. So it's basically the same premise of what I just said. We've got Fleetwith Pike here on the right hand side, and then it sweeps right over to Great Gable, and then yeah, same sort of foreground idea. But like I said, whichever one is the best from the various panic panos, I will pop up for you to see now. And I'm going to get out of here because I think my cameras are going to blow over if I stay here any longer. Now I do quite like this image, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there may have been a slight clash of textures, a bit of a texture overload if you will, and I think a simpler foreground would have helped really rectify this problem. We are at the peak of Panorama. I have to admit, that was a little bit of a slog towards the end, but it was worth it. The views are stunning, outstanding, 360 degrees. It really feels like I'm in the midst of the wild mountains. That's really how I want to put it. Perhaps it's the snow that's adding to that, but yeah, this is gorgeous, and I definitely want to get at least one photograph from the summit, even though as you can probably see the light has started to fade somewhat. Before we get into that, I would love to say another big thank you to today's video sponsor, which is Squarespace, and a big thank you for their support. If you've never heard of them, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that you can use to build your own website, which is exactly what I did. My website was built through Squarespace, and very, very honestly, earnestly from me, it is so easy to do it. I was massively intimidated by the prospect of building my own website. I didn't know where to start. discovered Squarespace. This was way before they sponsored me, and I could not have been happier. It is so easy. They've got loads of different templates that you can use to get yourself started, which again is exactly what I did. You know, perhaps you've got a New Year's resolution as well to build your website. I urge you to at least have a look at Squarespace. Give them a go. They've got wonderful customer service as well, and you can sell products directly from there. You know, you can create sort of like an e-commerce platform, which again is really easy to do. And that's what I do, of course, to sell all my prints, ebooks. I advertise my one-to-one workshops, my calendars when it's that season as well. And I couldn't run my business without it. So another massive thank you to them for supporting my channel and sponsoring this video. If you'd like to go and give them a go, or at least have a look, go to squarespace.com/Henry Turner and be sure to use the offer code Henry Turner at checkout to get yourself 10% off your first purchase. That'd be a good way to start the new year, wouldn't it? But yeah, another big thank you to them. I think what I'm going to do is come down from the summit a little bit. I do this quite often, and then look for a photograph. And I've got one in mind that's sort of off in this direction over here. So I've actually ended up flapping about a little bit because we haven't got any light. That would be nice, I have to admit. But I'm having to just work with what I've got. And right off, sort of down into the Wasdale Valley, actually, we've just got this area of gloom, like really sort of sinister looking. And it's class because it's, I was going to say black and white, but it's not black and white in terms of like a monochrome photograph. It's just obviously the whole of the landscape is very white from the snow, believe it or not. But then down into the Wasdale Valley, there's no snow. So you could see the blackness, the darkness of some of the peaks down there into that valley. And then there's so much kind of low-lying cloud. It's absolutely class. And it's almost like this black tunnel off in the distance. So I've tried to compose the photograph. I'll pop it up on the screen so you can see it. I've tried to compose it, you can see there, in a way where, I don't know really, it's like, I've got another rock, that's looking a bit better in it, change the white balance. I've got this kind of strip of rocks, look down here in the foreground again. And just purely to give a little bit of foreground interest from up here on Panorama, you know, sorry if there's a bit of wind noise. But look, you can see, there's a little dark tunnel there. I've put him in the top left-hand third of the photograph, and I don't know, I just think that looks class. Like I said, with all that low-lying cloud and that sort of stuff, but yeah, I feel like I repeat myself a lot with everything, to be honest, but it's one of them. I don't know if I'm getting excited about this now, and I want to get it back in Lightroom. It's going to be a bit rubbish, but oh, let me just zoom in down there. I've got to show you it again. Just looking at it there, look at this. Look at that little tunnel down there. I could maybe even I might even try a little sort of long shot right down there as well, you know. Now, before I show you either of these two shots, there's one more thing I want to talk about in terms of these beasts, the do-it-all lenses. And this is probably the most obvious one, and it's the fact that this relatively inexpensive in comparison to better lenses. So easy examples, I don't know if I've probably mentioned them in this video already, like 24-70 f2.8 and a 70-200 f2.8 compared to this. The difference in price would be massive. I'll put it up on the screen now, some sort of example. And I'm going to be babbling a little bit here, but you'll just have to, cheers if you're still watching. You'll just have to stick with me because I think this is quite an interesting point, and it was a fellow landscape photographer, a fellow YouTuber, a fellow called Mads Peter Iverson, who I'm a big fan of, wonderful photographer. I love his work on YouTube as well. And I think it was him. I hope it was, because I've said his name now, but I'm paraphrasing what he said. And he said something like, as photographers, we're conditioned to believe that this plasticky stuff like that, and, you know, external focusing elements, you know, everything's on the outside. We're conditioned to believe that that's really cheap and plasticky and like crap, basically. Like, there's no two ways about it. Whereas that's just not the case anymore. Maybe like a decade or a couple of decades ago, maybe back in the 90s or something. Whereas now, yes, okay, 70-200, 24-70, f2.8s are going to be better quality, image quality. But for me, the difference is not that great in terms of the image quality. I'd say it used to be, but not anymore. So again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the difference in weight. I am just not willing to pay that extra money, which would be a lot, by the way, that extra money, for the sake of having like a little bit of extra image quality, better image quality, or better optics, you know. But again, that's just me. That's just me. And this will probably sound a bit daft to some, but this is genuine. Like, honestly, if I could get a 24 to 70 2.8, 70 to 200 2.8 for the same price as this, I'd still have this. I'd still take this at the same price because of everything that I've mentioned in this video. I just prefer this. I love it. I love my 24 to 200. He's my little baby. What a wally. Right, anyway, probably a couple of shots here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support as always. It means the world. I'm going to head back down now. I've got a long old hike and it looks like all these sinister clouds are coming my way. I shall see you on the next adventure. Out.